Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Journalism and New Media Studies, SOJNMS. Master of Arts, Journalism and Digital Media, MAJDM. Second year, MNM 030 Theorising Digital Media. Block-1 Communication Patterns of Digital Media. Unit-3 Computer-mediated Communication, 3.0 Introduction. Computer-mediated communication, CMC, refers to communication in which users interact with each other with the help of computers and networks. CMC facilitates communication among people at different locations and in different time zones. Electronic mail, text messaging, chat rooms, video calls, and instant messaging are ways to practice CMC. Since CMC happens with the help of computers, internet-enabled devices, networks, and the internet, the chances of having noise are high. This is unlike the FTF situation. The users may also experience communication barriers. People lacking digital media literacy skills may struggle to experience CMC. Since it is a virtual mode of communication, users are anonymous, and self-disclosure may be delayed. The machine is an interface that facilitates communication. It sends the data from the sender to the receiver and back to the sender. In CMC, feedback may be instant or delayed. Delayed feedback indicates a lack of interest in conversation or the unavailability of the receiver. The message has to be encoded in a manner which can be decoded easily by the receiver and vice versa. People with common interests can come together and form virtual communities with the help of CMC. 3.1 Learning Outcomes. After completing this unit, you should be able to understand the concept of computer-mediated communication, learn the theories related to computer-mediated communication, understand the types of computer-mediated communication and their advantages and disadvantages, and learn the role of computer-mediated communication in mass communication. 3.2 Agency in computer-mediated communication. Agency in computer-mediated communication, CMC, refers to the ability of people to act, make selections, and exert their presence in the digital realm. CMC offers numerous modes of interaction through virtual environments like email, instant messaging, and social media. Here are some key points concerning agency in CMC. 1. Select the communication platforms. Customers can choose the communication platform they want to use. The selection is governed by the sender and receiver's technical literacy levels. For example, they could opt for electronic mail for formal communication and informal conversations with family and friends, or they might choose Facebook and WhatsApp. 2. Content creation and dissemination. CMC offers the agency to users to create content in the format of their choice and gives them the control to share it on social media and other platforms. The content may include texts, images, graphics, videos, and animation. This content allows users to share their thoughts, discuss, and interact on social networks. 3. Creating online identity. CMC offers agency to users who are free to create their own identities with the help of software tools. Moreover, they can share their online identity with their friends. In virtual chat rooms, users can choose any avatar of their choice. The avatar may indicate the user's persona. The avatar can wear sunglasses, jeans, and a t-shirt to look cool. He can look like a sports star and be dressed accordingly. Virtual gadgets and props can be added to copy any style and resemble a Hollywood actor. So, the user chooses how he would like to present himself on the internet, his digital presence. 4. Social presence, interaction, and networking. Internet users are free to select their friends and maintain relationships with them. They enjoy the agency where they decide their virtual presences, time, duration, and mode. Moreover, they can choose the social networks they want to participate in. Despite the mediated nature of communication, customers keep the agency in forming and keeping social relationships online. They could provoke conversations, be part of groups, set up connections, and construct networks based on shared interests and affiliations. The users can choose the discussions they would participate in, where they would like to give feedback and simply want to block unwanted communication. 5. Privacy and security. Users can maintain their privacy while communicating through computers and digital devices. They also have the agency to adjust their security levels, allowing access to their files and folders on the machine. The privacy and security settings can also be adjusted through individual apps and browser. 6. Digital media literacy. Developing literacy skills helps users navigate the CMC environments successfully. Media literacy also empowers users to be responsible for their communication. Digital media literacy skills make users aware of misinformation and disinformation. 3.3 Advantages and disadvantages of computer-mediated communication. The advantages of computer-mediated communication are as follows. 1. CMC can happen anytime and anywhere. The sender and receiver can be in different time zones. It offers flexibility in time and place. The technology used for communication is quite cheap, and the message can be sent almost anywhere in the world. The receiver should have internet access and a device to receive the message. The message can be sent to one person at a time, or many users with a single click. So, in that sense, CMC is a time-saving process. A lecturer can send a single mail to his entire cohort of 100 students. All can see and understand the same message, thus minimizing the communication gap. This instant feedback is relevant and makes CMC a productive process. 2. Messages sent through CMC can be archived for later retrieval. Almost all tools, such as WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, and email, offer server space where older messages are stored. The metadata of these messages is also stored, providing agency for faster retrieval. 3. CMC can be in the form of text, audio, and video. Users can choose their mode and style of communication. Moreover, visually challenged people can communicate through audio and text, while people who are deaf and dumb can interact through sign language. These days, quite a few CMC tools support emojis and emoticons. The visual cues can be given with the help of emojis. Emojis are quite successful in conveying emotions and state of mind. If one is happy or sad, he can convey this with the help of emojis. Built-in WhatsApp and email. The disadvantages of CMC are 1. CMC lacks the cues given by FTF communication. The words and emojis may help convey the message, but their impact may be much lesser than that of FTF communication. Communication is not only about text and words. CMC had no non-verbal cues, but the introduction of emojis changed things. These emojis and pictograms used on mobile apps have made CMC media rich. Emojis and emoticons can be seen as non-verbal communication in CMC, but this may also lead to misunderstanding. Young users use animated emojis quite frequently. Again, emojis are to be used with care in different cultures. 2. CMC suffers from a trust deficit, and people often feel that their confidential data and privacy are compromised. Anonymity and delay in self-disclosure led to low trust, which improves with time and as the relationship moves from machine-mediated to FTF. 3. For CMC, one needs a basic level of information technology skills. Issues of internet connectivity, cost of data plans, cost of software being used, and malware attacks often discourage the user from using CMC. 3.4 Theories of computer-mediated communication. Some of the theories that explain computer-mediated communication are discussed below. 3.4.1 Social presence theory. Social presence theory in communication and psychology explores how users feel connected and socially present in computer-mediated communication environments, such as online discussions, chat rooms, virtual communities, Zoom calls and instant messaging apps. John Short, Edderan Williams, and Bruce Christie contributed towards this theory in 1976. It argues that the social cues given by the various communication mediums differ. This difference in the mediums affects the development of interpersonal relationships. Presence refers to the physical world and how it is understood in the virtual environment in CMC. For example, when a user wears a virtual reality headset in the metaverse, the virtual stimuli trigger his mind and body. The user may feel the same connection with other users in the metaverse. People who spend more time in a virtual reality simulation perceive it to be like the real physical world and demonstrate physiological effects. Social presence is the degree to which we perceive another person's digital presence, say an avatar, as a real person and interact with it as though there is an existing relationship. During CMC, different technologies and their agency offer varying perceptions from real to virtual. For example, while going through news on a mobile app, we do not forget that it's a mobile phone and are quite aware of the agency it offers. On the other hand, if one has an online meeting, the behavior and communication are the same as in a FTF situation. The difference lies in the perception of social presence and the stimuli. Researchers use social presence theory to improvise the design of communication tools and make CMC more effective. According to the theory, social presence is influenced by factors like 1. Sensory richness, communication channels that provide more sensory cues, such as facial expressions and gestures, tone, and voice pitch, communicate a higher social presence. Video conferencing has a higher social presence than text-based chat since participants can see and hear each other. Virtual reality environments in the metaverse or augmented reality with some degree of immersiveness enhance social presence by creating a sense of co-presence in the shared space on the metaverse. 2. Degree of interactivity. Interactivity in CMC depends on the device and software used. More interactivity indicates a higher social presence. Higher levels of interactivity, like immediate feedback during real-time interpersonal communication, enhance the sense of social presence. 3. Personalization of content. Social presence is felt more when the content is personalized to suit the needs of the individuals. Tailored content increases the perception of social presence, and they get more involved in CMC, thereby showing a higher degree of interactivity. 3.4.2 Media Richness Theory. Richard L. Daft and Robert H. Lengel proposed this theory in the 1980s. It discusses how different communication media differ in their ability to convey information, which affects the understanding of the message and its context. The theory suggests that the richness of the information can be on a continuum, from low to high. Key components of media richness theory include 1. Richness. Media richness refers to how much a communication medium can convey cues and immediate feedback. Rich media facilitates personalization and conveys nuance, emotion, and context, leading to more effective and goal-oriented communication. 2. Rich media. FTF communication and video conferencing are examples of rich media since the visual component provides multiple cues and faster personalization. 3. Medium-rich media. Telephonic calls and audio conferences offer some richness as they offer vocal cues and immediate feedback. However, the lack of visual cues makes them less reliable. So personalization takes time. Text messages in WhatsApp lie on a lower continuum than articles published in a magazine, as the articles might have some photographs, i.e., visual cues. Text messages cannot convey emotions to the extent a photograph does. 4. Cues are signals or communication elements present during verbal and nonverbal communication. They provide an additional context to the conversation, help in better comprehension, and thus facilitate faster feedback. Examples of cues include facial expressions, tone, gestures, and proxemics. Cues vary depending on the affordances of the device and software used for CMC. Thus, this theory postulates that media organizations should plan the richness they want in their messages to achieve the desired results. Rich media can accompany stories and beats, which are more difficult to comprehend, while low richness in media is used for basic stories, which are just informing the audience. For example, a weather report can have rich media like videos and animation, while a simple movie review can be based on text only and would be low-rich. 3.4.3 Social Information Processing Theory. Joseph Walther's social information processing theory looks at how people process information. This theory tries to understand how interpersonal relationships are developed through computer-mediated communication, CMC. A relationship begins with verbal cues, but there are no non-verbal cues. So, the receiver and the sender form impressions based on the low-rich media, i.e., text messages. Social processing theory attempts to analyze this process. The theory also argues that the relationship formed through CMC becomes stronger over time and moves to an FTF relationship, indicating intimacy and closeness. The basic difference between CMC and FTF communication is that there is an obligation to reply or give immediate feedback in face-to-face communication. In contrast, the receiver can delay the feedback in CMC, indicating his unavailability to continue the conversation. Moreover, FTF conversation has visual cues, whereas CMC may lack that. Also, the interpretation of cues through CMC may be wrong. 3.4.4 Hyperpersonal Model of Computer-mediated communication. The hyperpersonal model of CMC postulates that under certain conditions, CMC has the agency to transcend traditional face-to-face (FTF) communication. This effect is advantageous for communicators. Communication professor Joseph Walther developed this theory in 1996. The key components in the hyperpersonal model of computer-mediated communication are: 1. Sender's selective self-presentation. In CMC mode, the sender can choose how he wants to be represented. He can decide his persona and appearance. What image would he like to create during virtual communication? One can decide on the display picture, DP, of their WhatsApp or Facebook profile and plan the status updates and photos the user would like to show others. Self-presentation and cues allow the users to portray their image in the way they like. 2. Receivers. The recipients also want to like the people they interact with. Their impressions of the sender are formed by their portrayal of their image and the cues they give. Thus, the receivers often justify their reasons for liking the sender. They look for cues that strengthen their inclination towards the sender. 3. Channel. Senders can choose the channel to carefully construct their message for self-presentation. They can plan the communication time and may synchronize it with the channel settings to deliver cues for image representation. Social media platforms, email, voice messages or video calls are a few channels that are used for self-presentation. 4. Feedback is the exchange of messages between sender and receiver. The sender can practice self-disclosure while self-representation and build trust with the receiver, creating a communication spiral. 3.5 Types of computer-mediated communication. Instant messaging on mobile through WhatsApp, Google Chat, Skype, and conferencing are examples of synchronous computer-mediated communication. Sending text messages like SMS, MMS, email, discussion forums on various subjects, and mailing lists are examples of asynchronous computer-mediated communication. 3.5.1 Synchronous communication. Computer-mediated communication has two types, synchronous and asynchronous. Computer-mediated communication that happens in real time is synchronous. The sender and receiver may be in different places, but with the help of a machine, they interact as though they are sharing the same physical space. Just like FTF, video, chats, WhatsApp calls, and FaceTime audio calls are examples of synchronous communication. 3.5.2 Asynchronous communication. On the other hand, in asynchronous computer-mediated communication, the communication is not real-time. There is delayed feedback. The visual cues may be less effective than those in real-time synchronous communication. Examples of asynchronous communication include text messages and emails. 3.6 Benefits of synchronous communication. Synchronous communication facilitates feedback in real time. Mobile devices, WhatsApp calls, Zoom video conferencing, and telephonic calls are examples of synchronous communication. Immediate feedback helps in quick decision making. Business decisions can be taken immediately as team members discuss the insights over a video call. Tools like Zoom and Google Meet allow files to be shared, and the user can show the charts and findings through video conferencing. Synchronous communication helps build a rapport faster with other users, which helps form relationships faster. It is time-saving, and the cues help clarify sensitive issues faster, and immediate feedback also helps in removing communication gaps. 3.7 Benefits of asynchronous communication. The receiver can respond when it's comfortable for him. In a team setting, the team gets enough time to plan their response. Asynchronous communication has delayed feedback, which means that users can continue to focus on their job and will not get distracted. They reply when they are prepared. Different team members can coordinate and work out a strategy before replying. 3.8 Computer-mediated communication and psychology. CMC is very different from FTF communication. In audio and text-based CMC, one cannot see the physical and facial expressions of the person with whom one communicates. So, visual cues like gestures and body language are missing here. Psychologists have examined the processes that come into play while practicing CMC. De-individuation, coined by Festinger, Peppertone and Newcomb, 1952, is the first such process which says that CMC leads to a decline in concerns about self-presentation, attention to social norms, and a focus on the self. Another psychological process in CMC is anonymity. Those engaging in CMC often practice lower self-regulation since they think they are not seen and can lie about their identity. Anonymity and de-individuation can have positive and negative consequences. CMC is quite impersonal because of the lack of physical space to be shared in real time. Moreover, users are unaware of each other's location, gender, age, and background. They only see what the other person wants them to see, and based on that, they make their decisions about each other. So, there is always doubt and curiosity about knowing the other person. People often enjoy two or more identities online. They have different profiles, profile pictures and avatars on social media platforms and mobile apps. They might show a different aspect of their personality on these apps since some apps and platforms are designed for specific tasks. For example, on LinkedIn, one can show his academic and professional achievements to enjoy a good reputation, increasing his chances of getting a better job. On a gaming platform like Steam, people can upload different details about themselves and highlight their success stories from online gaming. It's quite easy to manipulate a person's identity on the internet. Multiple identities can be used to commit crimes. So, in real life, a person can be the opposite of what he depicts about himself on the internet. 3.9 Computer-mediated communication and its use in mass communication. CMC is now being used for mass communication due to its convenience, operability, accessibility, and ease of usage. A person must have basic literacy skills to operate devices used in CMC. With the coming of Windows and mobile operating systems in Hindi and other languages, it is easy for the common man to communicate. Social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are used extensively to share information on various topics. Information about every subject, news, topic, and issue is available on the web and is being shared and discussed with the help of social media. Not only news but also business reports, advertisements, annual reports, etc. are being shared with the help of CMC to reach out to its clients, customers, and other stakeholders. Social media also offers interaction and engagement, which allows users to give feedback. The feedback includes likes, shares, comments, and retweets. Computer-mediated communication allows news to be disseminated through websites and blogs. News websites have video stories that can be shared through instant messaging tools. CMC facilitates the spread of news and other media content to remote areas, provided there is high bandwidth to support media-rich files. Video streaming platforms like YouTube, Vimeo, and Dailymotion can also be used to communicate with and reach their audiences. This form of communication is one many. This is the major advantage of computer-mediated communication. The message can be encoded and, with the help of technology, disseminated to many homogeneous and heterogeneous audiences. As mentioned, the message can also be audio but lacks cues. Since these messages have been produced, they are generally free from any glitches, and the content has also been seen before publishing it on the web. Platforms like YouTube and Dailymotion allow audiences to share feedback and invite user reviews. This helps the producers improve their content for the next program. Podcasts and images can also be used to communicate information on almost any topic can be published through CMC. Thus, CMC has the potential to connect individuals who are physically at different locations and may have different attitudes, beliefs, and cultures. CMC brings them together and facilitates information exchange among virtual communities. These communities are formed because they have similar interests and come together for a cause. Once the purpose is fulfilled, the virtual communities start dispersing. This temporal phenomenon happens because of CMC, but the results may last longer. 3.10 Summary. Computer-mediated communication has revolution is the way people communicate and exchange data. It is a boon for all, as people in distant places can interact at their convenience. Verbal and non-verbal communication is also done through CMC. All one needs is an internet-enabled device and an internet connection. The initial cost of procuring the hardware and software and the internet fees might deter a few, but if used properly, it can be a game changer. The cost of hardware and software is coming down, and the internet plans are getting cheaper. CMC is useful for students and working and non-working professionals. It is extremely useful in e-commerce, e-governance, and online education. The use of CMC was witnessed during the pandemic as schools struggled to impart education. People were confined to homes, but still could do their work, and the children could complete their education. CMC can be synchronous and asynchronous. Research scholars have suggested a few theories that explain the concept of CMC and the psychological journey of the individuals who experience CMC. CMC has fewer drawbacks as compared to its advantages. Finally, while communicating through machines in a mediated environment, one should be alert and safeguard one's data and identity. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with the next chapter.